Good evening, good morning, or good afternoon, whenever you guys choose to listen to us. We always do appreciate it. It's top 94. It's been a little bit of a while coming. 6 closer to 100. Obviously, podcast delayed. Well, most podcasts, racing industry delayed this over this week, obviously due to the horrendous passing of Mikey O'Sullivan. We were talking about it off air, Deck, whether to proceed with podcast earlier in the week, but we just didn't feel right to do. And look, and I was saying, like, there's probably nothing else that I can say or we can say that hasn't been said already. Obviously, the lad is, has left an incredible mark in such a short life, only 24 years of age, just shy of his 25th birthday. And I'd just like to offer our condolences, I suppose, is what we're trying to say here. But Deck, how's yourself? Obviously, I'm sure you might want to say a few words as well, but all good outside of that?
Yeah, all good. Like, as you said, Annie, I don't know what more could be said that hasn't already been said by people, probably better words than us and more qualified than us to speak. But I didn't know Mikey personally. Obviously, I go racing a lot, and you see these people. I know some of his colleagues, and this has kind of been said as well in the media, but all too often they are just jockeys to us, and a lot of people don't appreciate they're humans, and it often be my son with me when the lads will be coming from the weigh room to the parade ring, and faces no faces, and you'd get a hello, and he was someone's son along with everything else, so yeah. It's absolutely tragic. Nobody should be burying their children, and my heart goes out to the family, along with as everyone else in the racing community and beyond. And it was so touching to see the turnout, at the funeral yesterday. And yeah, look, I don't really know what else to say, Andy. It's you
did. That's it.
That's it. A lot's been said.
Hopefully the family can just find some comfort in how much everybody did appreciate Mikey. So, obviously going by all the tributes that have flown in, and obviously, as you said, the turnout to the funeral on Wednesday. So, that's sad way to start the show, but it's best that it has to be said. And rest in peace to Mikey O'Sullivan. Right, we'll move on then, Deck, to Fairyhouse. That's what we're going to do. Obviously, we were thinking of covering Punchestown, and then I've had an absolute mare and didn't load up the Punchestown graphic for the Friday card as we record here on a Thursday evening. But I know you do have a couple fancies on the card, so we'll take, if you wouldn't mind, just floating through them at the top of the show, because obviously with shelf life and all, a few people might listen here for a few Punchestown tips on Friday. What did you think of this card, Deck? Obviously, their main card was today at Thursday. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But this is a solid enough 7-race card. Was there anything that took your eye on it?
Yeah, look, so it feels a bit, and I'm trying to switch into tip and winners now after.
Of course.
Nearly feels not right, but look, the lads are back racing today as well. Unfortunately, like the world does keep turning, so. There was a lot of maidens on the card, Andy. I think there's 4 of them. So it's the second half of the card that really interested me. But I do like Come On the Lads in the first race in the opener. It's a maiden hurdle over 2 miles and a half a furlong. He's trained by Gavin Cromwell. He was 4th to that horse of Willie's that we always struggle with the name, Kappa
Giste. And I think I know what you're talking about.
The form's not too bad from that at all, and I think you could go well in that. There's a maiden, the maiden at 250. Familiar Dreams, I think she's a nice enough horse now. She did pay the price for trying to go with Maureen, and a lot of people are kind of ready to take Maureen on, and I would be one of them. But she's obviously still a nice enough horse. Anyway, it's just you're going to the festival having one bumper run and one hurdle run. It's been a tough place that mare's novice, So, but Familiar Dreams is a bumper winner. It was actually quite a good bumper. through it last night. And decent names there. After her, she actually got the first spin as well. So, he is very experienced.
Sorry, Deck, I think we just lost you there. If you wouldn't mind just repeating what you were talking about familiar dreams, apologies.
Yeah, probably a few gremlins there. Look, you probably caught the, the fact that I said she paid the price to go with Maria. But look, she's a bumper winner. It was quite a good bumper at the Punchestown Festival. There's lots of good names in there. Turned out to be a bumper well worth following. She's a flat winner and she's had a spin at Kentucky as well. So she's plenty, as you do when you're going back over hurdles. She's plenty experienced. And look, I think she'd give this a good go, even though it's probably going to be short enough. We'll move on to the handicaps at the end of the card, where it starts to get a bit spicy. Like 350, a handicap hurdle over 3 miles, 1 furlong. I think Ross O'Sullivan's drive on wheel will have a good go here. Nice handicap debut over 2.5 miles. Steps up to 3 miles here. I'd say his best maiden run was over this trip. Over the trip he made his handicap debut of 2.5. So I'd imagine stepping up to 3 miles on his second handicap is going to bring out some improvement. I do really like one in the 420, Andy. Well, it's actually his third reserve, Robbie Mayer. But look, in the off chance that 3 do come out and he gets in, he made his handicap debut in that race at Gowran that we've discussed quite a bit, won by a Sport of the Moment. Falcon Park was second and A-Class was third. Ernas Naguita was behind I'm not sure, I wasn't too far behind, but she's come out and won since as well. So the form of that race, not too bad. And that's actually the race we discussed last year as well, Champagne Mahler won. So look, if he was to get in at a nice price, I think he'd be well worth the go, but it's probably going to be the next day. And then the 450, Cowper Hall, it's Division 2 of this handicap. 5-year-old was handy enough on handicap debut over 2 miles, but probably got done for a bit of toe towards the end, and stepping up and trip is probably exactly what he wants. And trained by Gavin Cromwell, you're probably not getting much of a price, but yeah, I say he'd be solid enough now.
Yeah, it's Gavin's starting to really excel at these horses at kind of this level. He just knows what to do with them, doesn't he, at this stage? Almost like clockwork for him. Right, thanks for that, Deck. Going through the Friday, I was horrifically unprepared, completely almost forgetting that there was a card on Friday with the move around. So hopefully we have a few winners in there. I did, however, watch a good bit of the Thursday card today at Punchestown. Like plenty of pointers. Like I know a lot of people are thinking of Cheltenham at this stage of the season, and obviously, which is fair enough. Today's card at Punchestown was, I think people think you kind of stop getting clues after maybe the Dublin Racing Festival or races like that. But there were some nice horses winning today. I thought Spring Dillamar was very impressive in the 2 mile chase. It's the rated chase. We kind of mentioned on the show. Well, we tipped them on top 93, but
it was the same race, wasn't it?
It was the same race. Yeah, we tipped them on top 93, so it was a very belated winner. But you can understand people maybe missing it. So, look, he won nicely. 3-length winner, giving weight away to Western Diego and Raigwell Boy. So I think that was a better performance than people might give it credit for. And I did mention after he won on his chase debut, he beat Theatre Native, a mare for Henry de Bromheads. I thought they were well above their 0 to 120. I think it was 120 cap grade. Theatre Native obviously running when the yard was having a down spell as well in the middle of January. I still reserve my opinion that those two are very nice horses. We haven't seen Theatre Native yet, but you can get her in your notebook. She'll win plenty of races over fences. And this guy, I would be confident, is going to just keep ascending. You probably won't see him at Cheltenham. There's options for him at Fairyhouse, and obviously there's options for him at Punchestown, and there's other races around as well. I think Navan might come too soon from the 2 mile graded chase there, but he's a horse that he could be a live outsider even the Powers Gold Cup if they did want to go up and trip, because I wouldn't say on the way he's progressing over fences and how well he's jumping, I wouldn't rule him out. I was very impressed with him today. Other things to note on the card, obviously, Deck, I know you were very, very impressed with William Money. Really galloped and hit the line strongly and he'd be a live contender in the Supreme. You would have thought based on that.
He's probably going to be my bet on the day in the Supreme. At this moment in time, that's what I'm thinking, because while the favourite did look like a machine at Leopardstown, look, he's going to be very, very difficult to beat if he runs like that again. But we like to take on favourites around here, so like you've kind of missed the price on him as well, so you will want to take him on. But William Money, when you go back to his form, it's really, really solid. He's been behind good horses, and he's just struggled, right, because he hasn't settled. But as you said to me today, the Supreme's going to suit him down to the ground like a strong gallop. Like, that's going to be everything he wants.
Yeah,
I think he's a really, really nice horse, and yeah, at this moment in time, he'd be my Supreme bet.
Yeah, I catch her in behind him there as well, but we'll talk about him maybe on a later show. Has the runs now anyway, but we won't speak too much more. The Quevega Mares Hurdle, I thought Jade DeGrugy was brilliant as well. Obviously odds on, but given Mousy Brown and Guayquil, £11 a piece, like that was, and to kind of gallop away from them at the line for a Dr. Dino over 2.5 miles, unbelievable. All she does is stay. All they do is stay. I thought that was a really, really polished performance, and I'd be having her near the top of my list for the Mares Hurdle. I was so confident in her in the Dawn Run last year, and obviously, look, on what of what Brighter Days Ahead has done, if that was a true run race, I don't know if she'd compete in that mare. Obviously, Golden Ace, don't want to take credit away from her, obviously winning at Wincanton last weekend. It was a very, very good renewal, but I thought she was really impressive in the Quevega Mares Hurdle, a grade 3 today. Yeah, I thought it was a really, really good card. And obviously, Game of Inches in the bumper, incredibly impressive, but I think they'd be off their box to send him to Cheltenham. He's a big brute. And a race
I believe he was quite impressive. I haven't seen it, but like you've said that, and I've obviously got a text from Carol as well. So there are two opinions I'd really, really trust. So he must be a nice one.
Yeah, look, anybody, like, it wouldn't have taken Sherlock Holmes to work this one out. Like, he didn't even come out of first gear, never mind second gear. Extremely impressive, but look, there's a reason he's now a 6-year-old. It's February time. He's having the third run of his life. Like, he's obviously taken a while to come to hand. His 2 point-to-point runs were spaced out. Like, I just don't see why he'd want it. He'd end up in feathered if he runs in the champion bumper. Like, he'd be admitted in there, I'd say. Like, he's not a horse that you should be running in a grade 1 bumper under any circumstances, in my opinion. Hopefully they can, they'll get a run at him now, because I don't think he's been the easiest to train. Maybe I'm being unfair there, I don't know. But it's he's a very nice horse going forward anyway. Right, Deck, we'll fly here through Fairyhouse. The first race is the 105, the Connolly's Red Mills Irish EBF Auction Maiden Hurdle. As I said, they're at 105. Not a bad way to start the card. These auction maiden hurdles can sometimes, surprise you. But as I almost say every week at this stage of the year, they're probably starting to get that little bit more winnable now. But it's great to see the Thomp on Thomp now with in the ownership of Paul Byrne. Yeah. Getting his hurdles debut here. So look, he looked like he kind of needed a trip in his bumper. He may have been green, but I thought he may have possibly needed his trip. He starts over 2 miles here, Deck. Do you think he is the one you want to be with? And what do you see his prospects being as we go into the spring?
Yeah, well, I think Paul Byrne has the winner of this race. I'm just not sure which one it is, because he also has Watchful Protector in here. The Thomps on Thomps, and he was very green. And Strange was very green, Andy, because he'd already had a run over hurdles. He was second.
Yeah, I was just about to say there, to correct myself, that wasn't this is not his hurdles debut. He obviously was a maiden hurdle at Listowel, wasn't it, behind the Tip for Gold?
Yeah, it was. And look, Tip for Gold turned out to be nice enough as well. It's probably good form, but like once the penny dropped that day at Fairyhouse, he flew. And I don't know if he was outpaced or he was just very green. He looked beat. I would say that was more than just being outpaced. I'd say he could be okay over 2 miles. And yet, look, he's probably the obvious one here. But Watchful Protector was third in the bumper behind Road Exile. We haven't seen since, and Found a Diamond of Russell Sullivan, who's nice enough now. Found a Diamond has ran well anytime he's ran. He ran the maiden hurdle at Leopardstown. This horse only a 5-year-old, a year younger than the Thompson Toms. I'm struggling to split them, but I in time I'd say Watchful Protector could be the better of the two, but 6-year-olds in early spring are probably the ones to be weird over the 5-year-olds. So yeah, look, I'm struggling to split them. I've mentioned the Thompson Tom so much, I mentioned him since his first run for Gavin. I heard about him when he ran second in the point-to-point for Willie O'Doherty. So yeah, maybe I'll just put the gun to my head, go with the Thompson Toms.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you there. Don't know if I'd be rushing to have a bet at his likely odds. But I think he did it well, I thought. And I'd probably agree with you. I think he was just a little bit green the last day at Fairyhouse. He was the last 1 year 4-timer, wasn't he? I think. It was a good.
That was a good day, actually.
It was. I was an interesting enough one. Obviously, there's a son of Sholokov in here, Quality Control, obviously going straight over hurdles instead of going into bumpers there for Gordon Elliott, Danny Gilligan riding. Be interesting to see how he gets on. Might need the experience though. Obviously, Kishbank, he could be one up near the top of the market as well. Beaten by Coral River at Gowran on his last start. That's a decent level of form, but I have a feeling that on the Thompson Tom could be a little more classier than him. So yeah, I'd be going there myself. Onto the 140 then, Deck. The download the Tote app handicap hurdle. I'll probably be doing no such thing in the near future.
I logged in last week for the first time in years, and there was €3 in there.
That's a €3 that you never knew you had, and you probably backed something at SP, did you?
I just done a play spot, I think.
Yeah, you probably owed them money if you get it up.
Yeah.
Anyway, now look, in case the Tout want to sponsor us, I should show
play spot somewhere on a Tuesday. Yeah, so I got an invoice and through the door today.
Congratulations, that'll be a tenner. Thank you.
Yeah. Well done. Yeah, if this is not paid by the 1st of March, we would send you a penalty. The sheriff.
Yeah, lad from Betfred to come round to your door. What's his face? Anyway, the handicap hurdle, the 2 mile, over 2 miles at 140. So this is kind of a new, I don't want to say like a new incentive, but obviously a 4-year-old handicap hurdle, rare enough at this time of year in Ireland, and there has been an emphasis to try and get a bit more of them, put in the calendar. 7 runners, Deck. Who do you fancy?
A fella here. What are you?
All right, George. How are you, buddy?
Come on, get out here, will you? He's going. I'm starving.
For audio listeners.
Come on, here with
we had an appearance of George.
Look, I'd be with Maxius Prime here, Andy. He well punted on Stevens' day in a race where we like the couple of them now, but that was his handicap debut, and it wasn't until the last where he fell and wasn't beaten. This is his second handicap run. I'd say he'd be tough to beat now here. Butterfingers. When Butterfingers goes up and trip, I'll be backing him, and then I'll back him again when he goes up and trip again. I'd say he's a handicap in him over 2.5 and over 3. He's a little bit one-paced. I'm actually following him since he was running on the flat for Mick Mulvaney, and he fell out of the stalls one day and couldn't go to gallop at Sligo over 1 mile 5. He definitely needs to go up. Like there's no change in gear here, but he's still a nice enough horse who will win races up and trip. But like going through this field, the confidence in Maxius Prime the last day, I'd say it'd be tough to beat here. Yeah,
it was notable. Like she was back from what 40s, 50s, 66s.
Oh, sorry, it's a mare.
Ended up a filly. It's a filly. She was backed it from all sorts of prices. Now she did drift out at the off. Like I think she actually went off. I think 40 to, like, she actually was, to be honest, she couldn't be given away, I think, towards the end of the race. I think she went up, she went up at 40 to 1, but I think she ended up back down to 7 or 8 to 1 in the morning time, and then
the problem is you've 3 days of them getting punted at different times. You know, it seems to stay races, particularly the lower grade races where there's not as much liquidity in the market, that like they fluctuate wildly. So like it could have been genuine early money. Like I suppose she ran like they fancied her.
Yeah, so as you said, she was pitching at the last when she fell. So it was definitely a good run. Jane's Harbour with the hood and tongue tie first time combo. Also an interesting enough runner. She decent enough form in 3 hurdle starts today. Last seen behind Priory Angel at Down Royal. Obviously Slurricane has gotten his turn, I believe, since, and Lakota Blue was behind that day, I think a good few lengths behind that day, and Lakota Blue is actually giving Jane's Harbour £5 now. Obviously Carl Miller's claim will change that, but I think Jane's Harbour off 105, if they fancy it, I think she'll go well. I definitely have it between one of those 2 fillies though, like given how Max's Prime ran at Down Royal, but I'd probably be with Jane's Harbour. I think she's the one that probably takes the beating here, and it's Max's Prime for yourself, Deck, is it?
Yeah, it's Max's Prime. Like, I suppose if there is a time to win first time in a handicap, it's in one of these small fields for 4-year-olds.
Most of them be having their first time,
I think we discussed Jane's Harbour at length before that Down Royal race, and we might both have liked her, but now look, I'll as chairman of the Tiernan and Power Roach Club, it would be it'd be rude not to go with Max's Prime. Yeah,
she'd have a stamp on her back now. 10 stone 4 minus Tiernan's £5 claim. So interesting one.
It might
be nothing on her back.
No, in the next few days.
No, that's it.
Don't worry, Tiernan, I'll get you a good steak now if you pick this one home.
Oh, gas. Right, the Tout.ie Tommy Carberry handicap hurdle is next up, and I've said this a few times. Like, some of the races that we cover on this podcast is like no one would dare to dream to find the winner of it, or let alone even cover it. This is one of these races. This might be one of the hardest races of the season to find a winner of, to be honest with you. We've a load of horses here, a lot of them still novices, a lot of them still unexposed. A full field of 25 with 3 reserves. I'm confident in one. So even with that said, good to see good old Kilbarry Cece in here as well for Con O'Keefe. Is she the one that refused that? I can't remember, they're all called Kilbarry. She's the one that refused the Fairyhouse. Yeah. Well, the HUD goes on, and look, I'd imagine the HUD might go on to possibly try and blow this race open. Like, she is the one that she is kind of a mare that if she sees a bit of daylight, she will take off. And we've seen her do that going down to the start a few times, and maybe the HUD goes on because they're thinking of going forward. I don't know, because she has settled a little bit better the last twice, but that's not the one I'm going after. The one going after was a former nap at the, well, it actually wasn't a nap at the top, was it? Because it was the nature of the race it was in, but it is Leah's Contessa. But before we speak about Leah's Contessa, before I speak about that, Deck, who do you like?
Have you skipped the race, Andy?
I hope bloody not. One sec.
Sorry,
I have. Sorry, the 250 at Leah's Contessa. I have. I'm not with it today, Deck. Bear with me there. So
we can go through this one if you want and come back.
Yeah, you can go through and come back. So we'll go back to the 215. We needed to look at. I'm actually looking at Never Beaten by the SP. That's a funny one. Because you are the SP. But anyway, Tout Never Beaten by the SP handicap hurdles to 250. So apologies to anyone on audio. They're probably like this, lads.
Look, there's just 3 I actually like in here, and you've mentioned Leah's Contessa. Like, she won her maiden like she was above that grade, and it was what was the rate? It was a funny maiden, wasn't it? It was for horses.
It's for horses never placed under rules.
Yeah, for horses who've never raised the gallop before in their life. So, because like, come on, lads, come on, you need to try sometime. We put a race on for you now. No, I'm not getting this one. So She was ridden by that man, Tiernan Power Roach, that day. I thought he gave her an absolute peach. She's been left on her same mark of 102. The second, I Ballyadam, who was third today at Punchestown in the Missy Milan race, who was bitterly disappointed that she was pulled up. But he's a fine big horse. I'd be backing him the next time. He actually got £4 for that, £4 or £5, and then he was third today, bumped into one. You know, I don't know. Like I hope he's not getting anything for that third today because he was well beat. But it would be difficult to, like, she's the obvious choice here, and you know, you could do worse than having a go at her. But like, there is two others I'd give a chance to. Glenetti, Claire O'Connell. She was 4 lengths third in her handicap debut over 2 miles 7. You'd be trusting that she didn't stay there than that. And like, we always like horses stepping up. But if she didn't stay, you know, she's going to have a chance here coming back to 3 furlongs. And then there's Philip Rothwell's King Kong Siergate. I think that's it. King Kong Siergate. He was in next second now in the second handicap. He's got £3 for it, but like, when you're in the next second, I always think, you know, what else could you have got if that horse wasn't in the race? So he's only a 5-year-old, still improvement in him. It was 8 lengths back to the third as well that day. So I'd take Leah's Contessa and King Kong Sergei.
King Kong Sergei, okay. Yeah, no, I think Leah's Contessa like probably could have won that race by a little bit further if they'd wanted to. Like, she travelled into it so powerfully. Probably just idled in front. Obviously, what you said there, I Ballyadam Moon. Probably a bit of an improver himself, and look, I think he probably will win races at his level. You know, obviously the horse as well that was third that day, the Dawn, was placed at Clonmel last day as well, and is now up £2 start rate 102. Now there was a big difference in the weights that day. Obviously, with Tiernan Power Roach's £7 claim, and Dunham Isle not claiming anything, but like, it's still, you know, form is still, it's not getting knocked, but put it that way. So I think Leah's Contessa is one that should take plenty of beating. I'd say she's possibly above this kind of not to 109 grade. So if I think that, she should have like at least £7 up her sleeve. Should see her go pretty close, I would have thought. In this race here, never beaten by the SP. That's such a funny one. Anyway. Right, we are moving back in time because I am a fool. Back from the 250 to the 215. I suppose it's an easy mistake to make, especially when you're rusty, when you haven't done a pod in like a week. So 215 then, deck the Tote.ie Tommy Carberry handicap hurdle is the one we're going to cover next. And this was a race that I found difficult because there's a couple of horses in here having their 5th run, and if you're having their 5th run, you have to be thinking probably Cheltenham. So those 2 horses being Beckett Rock and Sporting Glory, I'd be very surprised if these 2 were troubling the judge here. But Beckett Rock, I think, has a Coral Cup entry. Sporting Glory, I think, has a good few entries. We'll double check that while you're speaking, but who do you like here?
Yeah, look, I was having a good look at Beckett Rock. Obviously, he's one we picked out very, very early days in his career, and very early days in top days. So, but yeah, like you, I'd be prepared to leave him now. Danny DeVito is the one that I would like here, but he would need good ground. He tried 3 miles first time in a handicap at the Dublin Racing Festival, and it was probably just a bit too much for him. He is a horse who'll get 3 miles. Actually, he tried 3 miles at Cheltenham. He ran a nice enough race, but like, there was 5 runners in it. 3 miles first time in a handicap is a little bit different. So I think this is going to suit him better, but you'd be hoping he gets good ground. Like, I would, you know, what we to third race in, I'd be waiting to see what the ground is like before getting involved with him now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If you think that if ground's important to him, yeah, you just got to keep an eye on him till the day. I could see Dancing Jeremy back out as well. He's had a near on 2 month break since his win to Tim Duggan. Reverts to hurdles. He's been doing that for the last, basically since tap was created, jumping between fences and hurdles. 10 pounds lower hurdles mark. Clearly goes well fresh. You could talk yourself into it. You could talk yourself into it.
Well, I wouldn't say I'd be much talking you into it now.
No, I probably already tried to get a price.
Yeah.
No, I do think that, like, even though he is 10,
He's getting better.
He's in career best form. There's no two ways about it. He won the Tim Duggan the last day, so like he absolutely is in career best form. Probably wants a bit of soft ground, which I imagine he's going to get. Yeah, clearly enjoying himself. I look, to be honest with you, even from a level-headed perspective, I don't think he's a worse hurdler than he is a chaser. I know he's 10 pounds between the difference, but that's just because he ran the chase the last day and won. Like, his mark they've been fairly consistent for most of his career. I'd say they've left him off a few months because, well, a couple of months just because he clearly does go well fresh given what he did last time out. So they probably freshened him up with an aim to having a go at this. And yeah, I do think he has a chance, and especially in a race where it's Beckett Rock, Sport and Glory, Pers Grand Trois, Slane Hill possibly, because he's a chaser too, isn't he? So, like, a lot of these, but Slane Hill might need to win actually. I suppose it kind of depends. He's probably the main danger, but a lot of these probably have, bigger fish to fry in March. Beckett Rock only with a Coral Cup entry. That's quite interesting too. Only handicap entry. So yeah, I think I will go with Dancing Jeremy. I'll probably put on my little get the little Dancing Jeremy cap out and go with him. And Deck, you're sticking with Donny DeVito, are you? Depending on the ground.
Well, I will wait to see what the ground is like. I'll most likely be there.
Right.
But I do think he might be ground dependent, and he wants it. Like, the better the ground, the better for him. But look, come here, sure, just chance him. I suppose you have to find out if you have to find out about the ground for real sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you can't just assume he hates it, and then what horse was it they kept not running him on certain ground, and it turned out that he can prove for it. I can't remember. I think it was a sprinter. Anyway, I'll try to think about it. Right then, Deck, the 342, because I've already covered a 350 or 250. Nice one, Andy. Sorry, 325. I should say 325. This is embarrassing. It's because I keep the things from last time. I keep the things from the previous tap, and then usually change the times. The 325 is the Bobbyjo Chase, and this brings back good memories from last year. The next two races do actually, really, don't they?
This is where the national double was born. It was during these two next races.
And would you believe
them running the Bobbyjo?
They're about to race against each other. Unbelievable. We
should have sponsored one of these races.
Imagine that. Yeah.
Down the credit union for the loan. We'll put up a few quid for this.
We'd probably have to sponsor the other one. I don't know if we could fork out.
No, we sponsored the novice rated Chase. Don't worry.
Yeah. No chat. Yeah, exactly. Look, this is a high quality grade 3 though. Obviously last year's both Grand National winners, as you said, I Am Maximus and Intense Raffles. The progressive looking Affidale Fury, who was, a decent return to action last time out. We got French Dynamite and Capadano. And then obviously Nick Rocket, who there was talk of him supplementing for the Gold Cup. They might have resisted temptation after his win to Thyestes. And then obviously Manila Kakuna as well. So this is a brilliant race. Even as a standalone, I know it's a Grand National trial. I think I'm going to be. I'll probably take a chance on Intense Raffles. They probably protected his chase mark. Wait for the weights to come out. Got served a lovely lunch. Probably got the mark that they probably knew they already had. And now they're going over fences after 2 runs over hurdles. Still a very progressive chaser. Gets 9 pounds off I Am Maximus. I think there's a lot to like here with Intense Raffles. So I'm going to take a chance on him, Deck. But who do you like?
Yeah, look, you must have known that's where I was. Like,
yeah,
I was backing him for a Gold Cup after he won the Irish Grand National last year. I do think it's interesting that Nick Rocket, rated 161, is in there down the bottom now, getting away from anything with the good way, But in saying that, like, there is times where ratings don't make sense, and I've been saying this for a long time, and 10 Raffles is still rated below Iroko. He beat Iroko over hurdles as a 2-year-old or something in France. And now, look, I know that was a long time ago, it was over hurdles, but this horse has won an Irish Grand National. Iroko has won a novice chase at Warwick, and he was second in a handicap for conditional jockeys at the festival. And he seems to be talked about as the next coming all the time. Who do you want in an Aintree Grand National, Andy? You know,
did he not win? Did he not win the Martin Pipe? No.
Yes, sorry, did I say that? He won that
second. I tell you, I know. Okay.
No, sorry. He won the handicap. He won one chase in his life for Rocco. In 10 Raffles is unbeaten over Irish fences. Now the problem with in 10 Raffles is I think he travelled to Haydock and didn't travel well.
Yeah.
But he's a bit older now. Like that would be, you'd have a bit of doubt in your head now with that, unless they'll probably get him over it. They seem to be doing everything right with this horse. They're not making silly mistakes. He hasn't jumped the fence since the Irish Grand National. They obviously know he's one of the best jumpers in training. He showed that at Fairyhouse the last 3 times. And they just kept him over hurdles, and he's had spins around, and he's obviously a much better chaser. He's coming here. The handbrake will be off. Not that the handbrake was on; it didn't need to be on. It was running over hurdles, but like this 7-year-old is going to find out where he is now against potential Gold Cup horses, like you said, in Nick Rocket and Noya Maximus is. While is he favourite for the Grand National?
I don't think he's favourite. No, it's Iroko, isn't it? Iroko's favourite, or is it? It's either Iroko or I know the way you're thinking.
One of them's overrated, and the both of them are overrated, and one of them can't lift his legs. I'm now more confident in the 10 Raffles, and I'd be putting, even off the big weight, I'd be putting Noya Maximus ahead of those two because I think he's a class act, and I do think he's a Grade 1 chaser and a Gold Cup horse, but when you have the luxuries that, you know, Willie Mullins and JP McManus have, you can go down this route. So, yeah, look, it'd be in 10 Raffles for me, Andy, and I'm, you know, out in front, jump them into submission, and we'll all get excited for the entry then.
Yeah, I think this is, you could probably have your reverse TriCast. I'm expecting a much improved run from Ian Maximus since he won this race last year. Obviously, intense raffles, and then Nick Rocket. I don't see a world where Nick Rocket won't be backed into favoritism in this race. Because I can understand Paul Townend pretty much just cannot get off Ian Maximus since he won the Grand National on him, and that's why Mark Welch isn't on him. But like the 11-12, we haven't seen much from this year. I as I said, I expect a much improved run. I think excuse me. I think Intense Raffles is your likely winner. Nick Rocket to be second, and Ian Maximus to finish third would be my idea of the TriCast.
It's actually in Tom's Raffy.
And Tom Raffy, of course, yeah. And those 3 horses that I've just mentioned there, every year I use the Bobbyjo is like the Grand National Bible for me. Those 3 horses be right at the top of my list for the Aintree showpiece as well. No 2 ways about it. I think good chance if you were inclined, and I'm not saying you do, but if you were to have 3 anti-post bets for the Aintree National, they'd be definitely the 3 I'd be having. And I think whoever wins this, good chance they go national favourite. They tend to do after this race. So intense raffles to beat.
It's actually a beautiful race, isn't it? Like
it's just it's fab race, yeah.
The placing of it is second to none. Like, you know, the weights are out, and you run a Grade 3 where, like, you know, I just think it's a great race. I love this race.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite races in the calendar myself. I very much enjoy it. So, on Tom Raffy to beat Nick Rocket and Ian Maximus. Right, the 4 o'clock. Have I got this time right now, Max?
4 o'clock, yeah. For the take the pole rated novice chase.
Yeah, behind a bridle today. I am desperate. 7 runners. Is there anything that's just been imported from France here? I don't think there is.
No, but there's one that's just been imported from Britain, and
Thomas Gibney has one in here as well. Good old. Did Mayo? Did he run in the? Did he run in the Bearing Bingham? No, he didn't. Okay, I thought he might have. I think.
I don't think Mayo have won anything now since the 1950s.
Yeah, as well. Poor Mayo. Anyway, so Will Do, who was just touched off in the Grand National Trial on Thursday, Punchestown. I would imagine his participation is highly in doubt here. So I'm going to go on the assumption that we have 6 runners here, Deck. Grand Soir, Ney, Yasmin Decot, Buchelbocht, Mayo, and Siaster. So who do you like here?
Oh, it was Ney who caught my eye here, Andy, because when I was looking at the race earlier on, I was like, this is the race, the Intense Rafi race. And well, he'd already had one run in Ireland at Fairyhouse in one of these before he won this. And Ney has had a run in Ireland. And I'd be hoping, backing him in this, that maybe he's just a horse he's, the handicapper has struggled with, and kind of erring on the side of like history repeating itself.
Yeah.
And we'll have 117. I'm not sure he's gonna do a demolition job now to get himself into the Irish Grand National, but he could get another run in after this.
Could easily do.
I don't have the interest in this race as I did last year, but yeah, I'd like Ney in here. In the hope that the handicapper has not got the grips with him.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. Look, we haven't seen Mayo since August, when she was beaten 6 lengths or so by Lyndon Arden at Ballinrobe. Now, she was hampered badly by a loose one that day, and you could probably mark the run up. It was clearly her best run over fences. If she's ready to go fresh, she's essentially she's basically running off 115 here. I think it's probably the best way to say it. Like, I know it's one of these special, kind of special weights. I think it's around 115, 116 she's running off. So I would probably take a chance on her if she is fresh and well and ready to go. But as you said, I don't think there's an Intense Raffles in here this year. And I'm probably just going off the Tom Gibney hype express from last year. Obviously had the winner in Intense Raffles, but maybe he's just picked out this race. Maybe it's one of his favorite races on the calendar now. We should probably try and, you're probably right, we should probably try and sponsor. Yeah.
Next year. Peter, if you're listening,
absolutely.
We'll have a chat on Saturday about sponsoring this race next year.
Yeah, we can even put Fairyhouse being the race course of the year in the name as well. Right, the 4:35, the Irish Stallion Farms EBF Colreevy Mares Novice Chase, and this race caused a little bit of pandemonium on Thursday, Deck, because bioluminescence has been declared, and anyone that's backed her now for the Mares Chase at Cheltenham is a little bit worried.
Yeah, but you have to Sunday, don't you, to qualify? Or no, sure, she doesn't have to qualify.
Yeah, she doesn't need to qualify for anything. Yeah, it's a conditions race, but it just makes you wonder. They may be eyeing the Grade 1 at Fairyhouse with her, because it's pretty perfect timing for a race like that. And they did run her against the Geldings the last day, trying to give weight to Dancing City, and she far from disgraced herself that day. So, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Kilbarry Saint out again as well. She only ran 2 weeks ago at Exeter. A pretty quick turnaround for her. I'm very excited to see her at this trip. I'm just hoping this race doesn't come a little bit too soon. I have a lot of faith in her. I think she's a fantastic mare. And then Deck, the field rounded out by a couple of mares there trained by Willie, or 3 mares there trained by Willie Mullins. Spindleberry probably being the main one there. So who do you like out of them?
Yeah, look, bioluminescence has to give weight away, and she was probably just outstayed by Dancing City the last day. I'm not saying she didn't stay, I just think she was outstayed by a better horse. But I've been quite the fan of Spindleberry. I've always liked her, and I tell you, she was a little bit disappointing on Chase debut, even though she won. Majestic Force has let the form down since, but she did win the race. If you're disappointed when a horse wins a race, how good could they be? So she's getting weight off everything here, and she's getting weight off the top tier anyway. But I would say we'll see a much improved Spindleberry here, and I think she's exciting.
Spindleberry then for deck. Okay. Bioluminescence does have to give £6 to the field, which, £6 and then some, depending on £6 to one and actually more to £9 to the others. I do hope she wins, because I think she's one that could run the Gold Cup in time, given the way how big she is, and she does look like she's a proper chaser, proper old school chaser, and given £1 to Dancing City the last day when she should have been getting 7, I thought it was a mighty effort. And Goodland back in third, who was backed off the boards. They were obviously expecting a big run from him that day. So that is strong form. I might take a little chance on Kilberry Saint each way though. I thought that was an excellent run behind Only by Night at Exeter, and she's a mare that I've always been a big fan of. She followed Il Atlantique, Firefox, and in the pocket into the straight at Nace, and they just kind of got away from her after kind of going slow. She's always shaped like 2.5 miles would suit her. I know this is basically 2 3/4 miles, but I still think it's worth a go. And I'll take.
You are a fan of these horses, aren't you?
I'm a big fan of that. It's actually more so Kilberry. I know I mentioned Kilberry CC, but that was more of a laugh at how much of a headbanger she is. But I've always been a fan of Kilberry Saint. Pretty much since we keep talking about that Gowran handicap, but she was obviously found a way to get beaten in that of 93, and she ended up £30 higher after finishing place in that grade 2.
Not an easy game, is it?
No, it's not easy. You think you have one that we'll run this in the graded race at Fairyhouse at Easter, but pick up this not to 102 handicap at Gowran along the way. No, you won't, but you'll get placed in the graded race at Fairyhouse. It's not an easy game at all. Not an easy game at all. Right deck, the 5:10 at Fairyhouse, the Ian Smith Memorial bumper over 2 miles. What mood are you in today for the bumpers? Is there one you fancy, or is it we'll wrap it up here?
Well, did me Townie Martin myself and Luke met Townie Martin in.
Oh, here we go.
We met Townie Martin in O'Donoghue's after day 2 of the Dublin Racing Festival, and
this isn't like the time we met Brendan, was it? Is he going to give us a 25-1 winner?
Well, look, I said, Townie, what's the crack? He had so much time for us, and it was getting to the stage where it was like, I wish Townie would you ever fun.
Townie.
He had so much time for us, absolute gentleman.
Lovely.
And really enjoyed the chat. But before we said goodbye, I said, Townie, give us one, will you? Have you had? Do you know what I mean? Just as a goodbye comment, we said. The bumper in Navan on Sunday, and it was Ted's Corner who was actually entered. Now, I don't know whether Townie thought I was asking for a winner or the runner. But he gave me Ted's Corner anyway. So I looked at him again tonight, Andy. Hurdle experience, 2 goals over hurdles. I said, sure, look, if Townie said, and it's gone by Andy's theory, well, then it has to win.
So first time tongue tie hoping to do the trick back into a bumper, and it's going for the emergency services treble of 999. It just needs to be 3 rivals home. But
and
maybe
Tony said, I've won running in the bumper and Navan.
You mean that's his only runner on the card?
I didn't know it's true. We spoke to Tony for ages, and he'd so much time for us. We didn't ask him for anything until I was like, well, I can't leave without asking Tony Marr for something. Tony, give us something. Wait for something in the handicap, Gave something in the bumper and Navan on Sunday.
This would be a Hall of Fame nomination if that thing could win.
Now he did. He was back from 50s into 40s now. In the bumper and Navan before he was declared a non-runner. So I don't know whether Tony's going around O'Donoghue's and Coppers saying back this thing, and then he just cashed out.
Easy money. It's an easy game at times. I'll probably go with each to their own for Barry Connell and Finney Maguire. I think Spinning the Yarn's a nice horse. He picked him up late the last day. it looked like East Tyrone was going to hold on, but as I said, just picked up late, and I'd expect him to maybe go one better. I know Willie Mullins has a couple in here, Arslan and Kaiser Ball, but I think East Tyrone is the one you want to be with here. And unless Ted's corner turns out to be an airplane, you never know. Maybe just switch back to bumpers and Deck's laughing all the way to the bank. Yeah,
might do the trick. Yeah, I'd say he'd open about 100 to 1.
I can't wait to watch that. Yeah, and can we be keen? Can we back that straight up?
Let Tony get his 100 to 1 before you get on. Right, we had this a couple of weeks ago.
Very good. Before we let you go, you probably haven't looked at Nace on Sunday. We probably throw up some tips on the page for that one, will we?
Yeah, I haven't looked that far ahead, but I should be there. I actually should be Fairyhouse and Nace, and hoping to take in the second half of the card at Punchestown tomorrow. If work is smooth enough, I'll get down there. So,
with a bit of luck, you can. That'd be good.
Yeah, be nice. 3 days racing.
3 days racing. That's lovely. Obviously, the Newlands Chase Grade 3 probably the big one for Sunday. Arctic Skewer going there. Good old Vincent Halley's just got picking up all the graded races for a good laugh. El Fabiolo and Blood Destiny Espinito Bello in there. I think that's an interesting race. Sinesia too. Look, I don't think he won't be troubling the judge, but I'm interested to see him in his next time he runs in a handicap, because that run in the 10 up is starting to look very, very good. They've only entered him in the Champion Hurdle and the Queen Mother at Cheltenham. I thought they might have given him a grand annual entry, but they obviously didn't. And then there's a good handicap hurdle there as well at 420. So a decent old card. And then obviously the Pretemps qualifier deck that they decided to put on the card, they decided to put 2 weeks nearly before Cheltenham. They only give us 2, and they put 1 at the very start of the season, and then 1 as if it's the very, very last chance. The last day you can actually have your 5 runs to qualify. We get the Pretemps qualifier. You couldn't make it up.
No, look, when when they've now made the rules for a lot of these races more complicated than the qualifying rules for the old 4-miler, I think we've a problem.
Yeah.
The National Hunt Chase is now more, it's easier to work out. Qualifying
the old National Hunt Chase, what was that? You couldn't run under rules. You couldn't have ran in a bumper race or a hurdle race, and the only time you could have ran under rules was during that same season, and it had to be in Hunter Chases or something, was it?
Yeah, but I think before that, I think you had to be bred by accident by, out of a barren mare owned by a farmer, and your daughter had to have given the horse a spin across the countryside 6 times, 6 months previous. And you might get qualified then, depending on who was looking at the form.
Had to be just out the black italic form figures everywhere. Right, okay. Do we have a nap at the top before we go, Deck?
I think it's in Tons Rafi, is it?
And Tons Rafi, maybe even Leah's Contessa as well. There's a few in there, but we'll go in Tons Rafi. It can't not be in the Bobbyjo Chase, and hopefully he travels over to Aintree and wins. Emulates who does he emulate? Bobbyjo. I didn't. He won.
Bobbyjo himself.
Papillon. Number 6 Valverde won both. And did Hedgehunter? No, Hedgehunter never won the Irish, did he?
He won the Thyestes.
He won the Thyestes. Yeah, won the Thyestes. Dead right. Right then, that's all we have time for then on Tap 94. So thanks, guys, and please forgive me for my horrendous performance. I'm gonna have to get the blinkers on, I think, for Top 95. It wasn't good, but just keep liking, sharing, subscribing, and hopefully we've given you a few winners. And until next time, guys, we'll talk to you later. Bye bye.